So, uh, so we started discussing a little bit of background again, just for recap before we go into the actual subject coherent states and squeezed states of light. Actually, when we discussed this quantum states and different type of operators, that time we have not completely discussed things which is required for understanding quantum field theory. So this plan is that we again go back and forth so that it should not look like completely maths and abstracts, little bit of device related things and a little bit of fundamentals and mixing, going back and forth. I think that way, I think uh, the course is planned. So I have discussed this slide in the previous class, but I would like to know how much you could get grasp the things. For example, if I take equation number 380 here, all of you understand this question? If I ask Sarod,
Sir, it's telling that the probability of that uh, state of A, which is when transition from get side to get A, what is the probability?
no, we are taking actually bullet number 5, the superposition principle we are expressing psi, right?
Yes,
We are expressing psi. What is that actually? When I write a psi bracket, what does it mean? When I write a psi, what is a, by the way? Ket a, for example, what is that?
K is that state means uh, so, so it states means eigenstate.
Eigenstate.
Yes,
Yeah, Ket is considered as a eigenstate, right?
yes, yes.
And that is what mentioned also. When it is eigenstates, and then what is the psi?
The size the we define the state that the measurement means that any measurement or any object that is defined by psi is if,
Oh yeah. So it looks it is clear that if there are eigenstates are defined as
yes,
A, then those eigenstates basically we can consider as a basis vectors.
yes, yes, yes,
It can be this basis vector can be 10, 20, can be 100, can be up to a very large number, right?
yes,
So I can think of a quantum system decomposed into hundreds of basis vectors.
yes, yes,
And those basis vectors we have to define such that they are actually orthonormal. Normal.
yes, yes. I also know.
They are vectors basically. So
Yes,
that means that orthogonality condition valid. They are basically unit vector, you can say, in a Hilbert space. And then when I have a psi which is completely defined state of a quantum system and we express in that Hilbert space, then if I take dot product with one of the basis vector, that means I am just taking the projection on that basis vector, right? I am
yes, sir.
taking psi is the
But
projection of that basis vector. And then that means the bracket a psi, that is a scalar quantity, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So if I keep on taking dot product with all the basis vector, that means I am getting the component along all the basis vector, component of psi along all the basis vectors, right?
Yes.
So
That's why the
then,
summation is.
yeah. So once we get a component and then we have the basis vector, that means along that direction I am just defining, right? I can add all these components together, then I can have a basis. That is how we have defined it. Now, when I take a psi bracket whole square, what does it mean?
Yes, I get it. Was going inside
That means I have the component along a, right?
yes, that means I compare along the eigenvectors. Means that basis vector states.
That is the coefficient along a basis vector, right?
Yes, yes,
And that can be complex.
yes,
And if you take a square of it, that means it says that this it's like a C1, C2, whatever mentioned earlier, right?
yes,
Similar
yes,
type
yes.
of thing.
That
So
that
that
weight of that.
that actually defines like a probability, right? So
Yes,
that means this equation 380 says that if you try to measure a, that means if you are measuring somewhat a basis vector along the a basis vector, then whatever value you expect of psi, right? That is
yes,
actually the probability. And then denominator we are dividing psi inner product of psi star, whatever things. Why is that?
because it's for the normalization.
Yeah, but normalization. Why normalization we need this? Because I am just expressing PA, right? PA means of probability of
Yeah, said that from side gate side to gate A means what is the probability of standing of
uh, no,
particular gate A?
uh, and then denominator is what? If I define PA as a probability expression, then what is the denominator? What should be the denominator things?
Is it the total?
Yes, this is actually total probability.
Yes, yes, sir.
So that means psi ket psi bra, that means inner product of psi star. That is basically, it is giving you, that is integration minus infinity to plus infinity normally you consider. And that's the
Yes, yes,
total probability. So what I'm giving that here, numerator is the probability of getting a eigenstate A and eigenvalue A.
yes, sir.
That is that much the probability. So what is it is it make is it making sense that we are saying that, for example, if you are taking number three, that measurement value is A with a probability is PA, consequently the object must have jumped into a state A. So the measurement value A and state ket A, what does it mean? Why both are defined? Why we need to define both with the same letter? Is it essential? Does it make sense? Because when you get a measurement values,
Yes,
you get a real value, right? Something
yes,
you get.
yes,
So that value is A we are defining. And then once we get a some measure value, before that, whatever the value was there, whatever state is there, once you get a value A, then we are saying that the entire system is collapsed into ket A.
yes,
So why we are saying value, the measurement value is also A, and the eigenstate is also ket A. Is this really necessary?
Sir, it is just notation, right?
It's a notation basically. It could be, it need not be A.
Yes.
The measurement value you can define with any symbol. This is a symbol, but I think here just because I think if you check a different book, it will be giving different value. It need not be same. So you should not be confused. That is what I mean to say. So A is corresponding to ket A. If A is changing, suppose A is 1, okay, and then ket A you are defining as 1. Some number, you can give a number, but the measure value may not be a number 1. It can be half, it can be something else. Okay, and ket A is a vector, right?
Yes.
And then if I ask you, then quickly, anyone else I can ask, maybe I can ask Neil, Ashwin.
Yes, sir.
So suppose the wave function psi is defined in two-dimensional Hilbert space.
Okay.
Psi is in two-dimensional Hilbert space. So that means I will have a two basis vectors, right?
Yes, sir.
So can you define these two basis vector?
Sir, 0, 1 and 1, 0.
Yeah, one can be 1 0, another can be 0 1. This is just a this one is mean, if it is instead of 1, if we write 5, will that work? 5 0 and 0 5 if I write?
Sir, it's effectively just a scalar multiple of the same vector, right?
Exactly. It's a you want to normalize it. It's a kind of unit vector. So writing 5 actually only thing is that you are scaling, nothing else. So that's why 1 0 0 1 it makes sense. Okay, so this thing this slide somewhat we understand, right? And then this also this you can it's equation 381. Is the first equation, is it clear to all of you? Suppose I am taking inner product between two states, psi prime and psi, and that we are writing like this. Is it make sense? Whom to ask? Sovik. I'm writing psi prime and I'm taking inner product with A and then A psi. I'm just writing something like that.
Yes, sir. Means in the first case I'm taking inner product, means that psi prime A, that A is means ket A, so it is normal. And when I'm taking the other case, means A psi, so that A is the means conjugate, means it is bra, means means that complex conjugate of that normal. So it will get resolved. So that is fine. Means it's okay. Means it can
So-
be written like that.
No, it's what I'm saying that it sometimes people used to confuse that. Suppose psi prime I am taking a projection with A, right? First
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
And then psi also I am taking projection with A. That means I am taking component of psi prime along A and component of psi along A. And
Yes,
then
sir.
I'm just multiplying. So that means that is actually when you take a dot product, each component to component you multiply, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is what it makes sense. Fine. And
Yes.
then if I okay, if total equation 385, if total probability we are mentioning 1, then projection vector we are writing like this. right? So 382 we are just writing psi A equal to A psi star, right? So that's why it is possible. That is also easy to understand. And then orthogonality condition, as I mentioned earlier, and this equation 384, the first one, if you see that we are writing Kate A and bra A multiplication, and I am writing that is a unit identity matrix, right? Is it clear to all of you? Vaibhavi, can you is that make sense? Why we are saying to the system of eigenvector must be complete? When I say must be complete, then we have to write this one. How does it
Yeah,
matter?
that's the orthonormality condition.
No, orthonormality condition is the
A
383.
of eigenvectors. Yeah, 383.
But I am asking 384, the first one.
Oh, okay.
So when I am saying that the system of eigenvectors must be complete, then must be complete means the first criteria we are writing that basis vectors, no? Kate basis vector and then bra basis vector. We are just
Yeah.
writing like a simple multiplication type things, and then you are getting identity matrix.
Yeah. Equation we can get from the equation on the previous page.
Previous phase.
If prime and psi, we took the dot product. Right? If we put psi prime and psi as equal, then we'll get that.
Psi prime. This equation 381 you are saying.
81. Yeah.
So if psi prime equal to psi, then you will be getting this one. This equal to
Yeah.
1, right? So if it's psi equal to, in that case, if you are writing like this, the psi can be written like this, the middle one.
Yeah.
This is clear. This is psi is
Yeah.
written like that, and then from here, if you see, I'm just putting here bracket. I know that if we start from psi here, middle one, forget about the first one. If you are writing the middle one is understandable, right? I am taking just a dot product, and then I am just taking components. That is the entire psi. Get. And then little bit rearranging. I'm just writing this one within bracket and psi. I just putting bracket here. So if I just compare this to this equal to this,
Yeah.
that
then
means within bracket should be equal to 1. So that is how identity matrix we put. That is clear. Okay. Now all this repetition. Now again, if you see, when I try to make a measurement, one time measurement I am taking, and then I get a value A. Next time, if I measure, if I have an ensemble of states, immediately if I measure, I will be getting A for sure, because it is entire psi is collapsed into A, Ket A. That's why it will be measured. But if you have a, if you equally prepare a state all the before the measurement, then you may not get same A as before. It may be different value, because it may be collapsed into different eigenstate. Each will have certain probability. That probability we know, this is the probability PA we defined. And then if I am trying to, if I am measuring again and again and taking average of that measurement, particular value I measure, it can be momentum, it can be anything. All the time I am measuring the momentum by preparing the system identically all the time. Then if I take the average value, then I can say that is the average momentum or average whatever value, right? So in that case, mathematically, if I know basis vector, and for that basis vector, that Ket A, if I have a probability PA, then just all the probability I just add with this major value, that is eigenvalue, that is your average value, right? Now from here to here, does it make sense? Because PA, if you just try to write, PA means this one, right? PA means this is the probability of having a state into eigenstate A. You are taking that multiplication, right? So this one, if you write here, then we can write in this form when you are writing this. It's kind of this average A, certain measurement, we are writing average A. Average A can be written like this when we call this A cap is a operator which is nothing but this one. How it is coming? If you just put down this PA here directly, this PA expression here, that's the probability. Then you see you have a eigenvalue A, and then you have a Kate A. You can write Kate A and Bra A, and psi, both sides psi will be there. We can just simply write like that, right? So this will be your operator. So from here, what is the take-home message basically from this equation? Okay, this is mathematically correct. Then after deriving this expression, what we actually getting 386, for example. I am getting this expression. How does it help? Anyone can tell? Suppose expression 386 you got, or you could get operator, right? In a matrix form you are getting, right? Okay. So how it will be helpful? Anyone can tell? Maybe Barun, you can tell?
Sir?
You understand the question?
Yes, sir. How is that last part of 386 is helpful?
We are getting that just a kind of matrix we are getting. How this matrix is going to be helpful?
I'm not sure.
No, thing is that it is if you know eigenvalues, for example, right?
Yes.
And basis vector is known. If you know the eigenvalues by some means, suppose it is given to you that okay, I supposed to get these are the eigenvalues. I have 5 eigenvalues. Say maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different values are there, right? And
Yes.
then I can actually construct this matrix, right?
Yes,
So then I know what is the matrix for that measurement. Now, if you want that, okay, I want to, after measuring that, I want to operate something else, then what would be the outcome, next outcome? Suppose I have another matrix is also given like that. So subsequently you are just operating. In that case, mathematically you will come to know what would be the outcome. For example, I know this is a matrix for certain measurement operator, and I have another matrix for certain measurement, that operator is there. So I have 2 matrix now. Now if I want to get, okay, one after another, if I want to go for, then mathematically you just multiply and then you can step by step you can get. So that is why this matrix formulation is important. So if you know eigenvalues, so you can get some matrix, certain matrix you can get.
Yes, sir.
And whenever we are talking all these, defining the psi, decomposing into eigen basis vectors, and then project in terms of projection, all those projection operator and this thing, probability and measurement average, all these are actually it is called pure state. A quantum system, you are defining the system completely, you are defining the system by a state called psi, and that psi can be expressed by in terms of its basis vector, and that basis vectors must be complete. That means whatever the projection that I have written, that equation 384, that is the thing. These are called pure states. Okay. Afterwards, we will be just discussing also mixed states also, because sometimes mixed states we have discussed about thermal light, all those type of things. They are basically mixed states. I will try to relate now those things, that how these mixed states are. We have already discussed those things, mixed state, how mathematically you can relate some of the concept we have used there. We will be relating that. So that's fine then. And then normally this is because this A is real, all the eigenvalues, whatever major values, they are real, then normal property is that if it has to be real, then this matrix, whatever the operator you are getting, this operator must be Hermitian. Hermitian means nothing but just you have to take complex conjugate and transpose. There's a matrix, and that has to be equal. So that is one condition you have to accept. Okay. Now I think this was the slide we discussed probably last time. So so suppose I just operate this one on psi. I can write like this, right? This is simply, this is a operator. This is actually defined as operator. Suppose I know the A and then psi value, I am just writing this thing. That's fine. Now suppose you have two different measurables, as I was discussing, that you have two different operator in a matrix form, for example. You have just defined like this matrix form because you know the basis vectors. All the basis vectors you know, and then simple multiplication you can construct. Suppose it is these basis vectors are given, for example, two basis vectors are there. The ket A are having two different values, 1, 0, 0, 1. Then you can, and the eigen values may be plus half, minus half, something like that is there. A values are there. Then you can construct these values, right? This operator you can construct. So similarly, we have another operator B. So if I define, this is very interesting. Suppose if you have, we have discussed earlier, but mathematically I try to visualize here. Suppose you have a state and you operate A, then you get this one. Similarly, that same state equally prepared, then you are measuring B. Maybe this is momentum and this is maybe energy, something else, position or whatever. Two different operator meant for two different measurement. So if I measure with A, then I get this one mathematically. Instead of A, if I measure with B, then I get this one. Now, when I measure, even though I write like this, right? For any measurement, this actually gives all measurements actually with their probability, etc. But if you are just measuring one time, you are supposed to get one value, eigenvalue, and then your psi will be collapsed into ket A. One time you are measuring. Similarly, instead of measuring with A operator, A measurement, if you are measuring with a B, one time you are measuring, for example, it is actually giving the complete measurements thing, this equation 389. If you are writing like that, that means I am just getting all the measurement with all possible eigenvalues like this. Okay, A eigenvalues and then their projection, and that is there, and so on. We are expressing. For B, we are writing like that. Now, suppose this is the two things. You have suppose two identically prepared state, pure state. One you have first measured with A, and then another you have measured with B. Then the first one you just consider, you try to, after measuring A, after measurement with A, you measure with the B. That means whatever A psi you are getting, you have to just operate B on that. We are writing like that. Then what I'll be writing, because you see this is a scalar, A psi is a scalar, dot product, right? This is a number. A is also number. That means it is a vector remaining only A, ket A. So it is as if you are writing A psi, A on psi, you are writing B on A psi. So that means directly you can write, right? If you operate A with the B operator, you are supposed to get B eigenvalue, and this A wave vector will be collapsed into B, because you are measuring with B, because it will be, it's supposed to give you B value, right? And along with that, this expression will come. So I have written A psi here and B you are getting here, and then I'm just taking what is the overlap of A with the B, because I'm measuring with B. What is the overlap of A with B? That means I'm taking the projection on B. I'm taking projection A on B, and that scalar value you are multiplying with the B. That is how we are getting. So this measurement produces an eigenstate B, which is probabilistically dependent on their prior measurement outcome eigenstate A. Before you have measured A, and that time you get eigenstate A, some eigenstate A. This eigenstate can have different eigenstates. One of the eigenstate you got. Depending on that, your next measurement comes. If instead of, suppose you are defining this ket A as A1, you will be getting one value after measurement B. But if it is A2, then again if you are measuring, you may get different value. So that difference, how much it will be, that whenever you are taking that projection with the B, you are taking projection A on B. Whatever value you got, you are taking projection on that. So similarly, if you are doing measurement this one and then you are operating A, you get this one. So this measurement produces an eigenstate A, and eigenstate will be A now, because first you measure B, and finally, if at all you are measuring, that will be collapsed into A now. So these two results gives you eigenstate of B, and here AB will be, final results will be eigenstate A. So that means BA obviously may not be equal to AB. That is the first thing, because their eigenstates is different. But nevertheless, even though eigenstates, if it can be collapsed in B or A, that does not matter. Whatever the value you are getting here, this value, will there be, the sum will not be there if you remember carefully, because you are measuring first A, then one of the eigenvalue you will be getting, one of the eigenstate you are getting, and then you are trying to measure B on that. For completeness, I have put here total things, but ultimately you will be getting one of them. So here you get ultimately B. Now the comment is that if this eigenbasis vectors A and B are two different sets of eigenstates, then you see this overlap. Whenever you are taking, because B to A and A to B, this is basically dot product, right? If these dot products, whenever you are taking their coefficient as the probability, that A dot B square, if they are not perfectly overlapped, that means the set of eigenvector A and set of eigenvector B, if they are not perfectly overlapped, then you are, after measuring A and then when you are coming to B, that will be actually probabilistic. One time measurement, you will get something, and next time if you measure, after measuring A and again going for B, you will get probabilistically different value. So that is the reason that there is chance that AB may not be equal to BA. Specifically, if this is overlap is less than 1, if you are taking, we are not just considering anything about, just in a vector space, we are just imagining everything. Okay, then it will not be equal to, that is actual commutation, and this commutation, whatever their difference value is, that is actually called commutator, and expressed by C. If A and B is Hermitian, normally the C is called anti-Hermitian. Normally, anti-Hermitian means normally C will be equal to C dagger, but negative sign will be there. So that is a property. Okay, but thing is that if they are not equal, then if A B not equal to B A, then A and B they also follow some kind of uncertainty relation. So measurement of A and measurement of B, because of the probabilistic overlap, because which eigenstates you are getting first and then you are measuring the second one, that is probabilistically it will come, right? Probability PA, whatever we define. That's why their measurement will have some kind of error and they are following uncertainty relation. If it is A is momentum, another is position, then normally you know that momentum position they have some kind of uncertainty relation. And A is energy and B is time, then also energy time, that also uncertainty relation. So this way, I think many different angular momentum, all those type of thing, uncertainty principle is there. So that wherever we need, we will be just bringing that concept, that whenever you find that there is a chance that they are not commuting each other, so you can end up by building a uncertainty relation between these two measurement operators. Okay, now we are coming to the actual thing we have not discussed earlier, but very important, which is called quantum entanglement. So quantum entanglement, it is just kind of so far we are talking about a single quantum system, right? So maybe it can be one quantum particle, or maybe as a whole a system you are defining with a psi, quantum mechanical equals some state psi, right? Now little bit of peculiar situation we will be just discussing of two quantum state. You have to imagine two quantum state, or maybe you can imagine a quantum state that is subdivided into two parts. There will be two sub system. Okay, if you can decompose into two subsystem and you can treat them independently or not, that is the situation we'll be discussing, and very important. So that is what I just mentioned. So this part is very important because we'll be using this entanglement not only for certain applications, also some entangled photon generation we will be using for heralded single photon source, as a heralded single photon source. So the concept that understanding of quantum entanglement is very important. You have to just, I hope you have heard about it and you know a bit about it, but I think a little bit of mathematical concept here I will be trying to sketch out will be helpful for understanding our devices. So we have just considered like this. So far we have studied quantum mechanical system consisting of single particles or pure states of the quantum system as a whole. So as a whole, you are just considering pure states, right? Next thing is that just divide it into subsystem. That is what I mentioned. Now, suppose we have two particles or two subsystems. You just labeling A and B. It can be a same system. One part is A, another part is B. You can imagine. And let this HA and HB denote the respective single particle Hilbert spaces. So independently, you can define the subsystem with a state in Hilbert space. You define HA. It will have certain kind of dimension. And independently, the particle B or system B, subsystem B, you can define with a state, another state in a different, you can treat them, you are imagining that you can treat them or completely define them in two different Hilbert space, meaning two different vector space. That is what we have. It's kind of individually they are pure states. You are imagining like that. And let us consider that individually you would obtain two real measurement values. Suppose you are just measuring something on subsystem A and subsystem B, and then you get a measure value A and B. System A, you are getting some measure value A, and system B, you are getting some measurement B. So this A, B, basically you can consider can be spin of a quantum particle, can be polarization of a photon, and something else also. Quantum mechanical aspects you can measure. Now you measure two subsystem. Suppose you got A in system capital A and small b in system capital B. If we repeat now, and because we know once we measure, it is collapsed into that state A, small a and small b. You can say that it's a Ket A and Ket B. These are value, and then it will be collapsed into Ket A, and capital B will be system will be collapsed into Ket B. Right? That is what mentioned here. So it is natural to assume that the independent measurement corresponding to factorized eigenstates given by this one. So this I will be a little bit explaining a little more here. Suppose you are trying to get the measurement A and B. We are just putting like this symbol. This symbol means I am just putting a state, capital subsystem A and B, their values A and B. Together, I am putting a state. I am just defining a state of the complete system, A and B. I define like that. That can be expressed like this. Ket A, and this is called tensor product with Ket B, meaning this Ket A actually it is something like that. Your first system is expressed completely with your pure state, completely defined, and then B is completely defined by Ket B. Then if you are taking their tensor product, I hope you know tensor product. If you, I think there's a state for a tensor product. I think you have studied in physics courses also. If you have not learned, I think slowly we'll be showing and you will be getting. It's not so difficult. That it's a kind of, it is a vector and it is a vector. Normally vector, two vectors, you know that mathematically we have dot product we have seen, and we have a cross product also. But if it is tensor product, then ultimately you will be getting vector multiplied by vector. It can be a tensor basically. We'll come to know that a little bit. So their tensor product, you can actually define the combined state by their tensor product. This is how it will be clear a little bit more as we go through another slide. What is happening? Suppose your first system, you can define the state in Hilbert space HA, and second one HB. So you can define a new Hilbert space, which is actually tensor product of these two. That means whatever the basis vector you are defining here, eigenstates you are defining here in Hilbert space A and Hilbert space B, their tensor product, then you will get a new space, Hilbert space. So your combined system can be defined in this new Hilbert space. So the take-home message is that, go ahead.
This new Hilbert space is for collapse states only.
No, it is not collapse state. It is, you see, whenever I am writing this, ket A, meaning this ket A means it is the complete state of particle A. And B is the complete state of, you can express them in its Hilbert space. That state, like psi. Psi you have expressed in Hilbert space, right? That's using all the, you can decompose into basis components. And this, it is just a notation. That means individually, whenever you are just expressing them with their different individual basis vectors. So basis vectors will have a kind of, that is a Hilbert space that will have a dimension. So it is not collapsing. It is basically a combined state how we are defining. It is not, this one I am not considering one of the basis state. It's a complete state basically. Okay, it can be decomposed into its eigenbasis states.
Yes.
Okay. Suppose here it is given. Here it is more clearer. Suppose this Hilbert space HA spanned by the basis vectors, a set of AI. It can be 2 basis vector, it can be 3 basis vector. For practical situation, we will be just handling 2 or 3 basis vector. But in principle, it can go for many basis vectors, right? According to your requirement. So you have a set of basis vector we are defining in Hilbert space A with notation A. That means this A we can decompose into AI. That means A1, A2, A3, A4, so on. And HB also spanned in the basis vector BI. So B1, B2, B3, something like that we have defined accordingly this way. You can use different symbol also. That is not an issue. Then H is, that means the combined Hilbert space, whenever we are considering, that's can be spanned by basis vectors consisting of pair-rich combination, like this AI, Bj. For all AI and Bj, that will be also like a tensor. This is a vector and this is a vector. Then you can actually, one specific vector you are taking, basis vector you can take, another basis vector, then their tensor product you can consider for this new combined state. I hope you are getting. It will be clearer if I give one more example, that will be more clearer. So that is the way how we can define. That's the ultimate goal, is that what we are trying to explain, that I have a particular system which is completely defined to me, and then another system which is also completely defined. Then I can develop a new state which can actually can be a combination of, if both states are known perfectly, definitely, then I can develop a new mathematical form, mathematical state, which can actually define both the system together, right? So here it will be a little bit more clearer. It's just any 2 particle state can be written as a superposition of these basis vectors. You see, I'm just defining a state psi for the combined system, and I know that individually they could be defined well with ket A and ket B. Now combined state, I'm defining with all types of their all basis vectors. Suppose ket A will have 2, 3 basis vector, ket B will be 2, 3 basis vectors, right? And I have to take individual basis vectors and individual basis vector and their tensor product. All the components you have to add tensor product, and then will be the final state you can actually define. Now you know, if I just try to see this a little bit like a pure state, it's also one kind of pure state, because you see this is together giving you a basis vector. AI, the individual basis vector, tensor product you are getting, and then one component that actually gives you a basis vector. And you know how many bases? Suppose system A has 2 basis vectors, orthogonal basis vector, that is complete Hilbert space of 2 dimension, and this one also Hilbert space of 2 dimension. So if you are taking their cross product, that means this is 2 different things and this is 2 different things. So ultimately we'll be getting 4 different combinations. So you will be getting, you can express this psi spanned into 4 basis vectors, right? I have tried to give you one example here. It will be because normally in the textbook, this one I just tried to picturize how it will be 4 different basis vector will be coming. And then, you know, if you are getting this is a basis vector, if it is a pure state psi for the combined system, then you must have to prove that this basis vector are orthogonal. So to get orthogonality things, what you have to do, their inner product you have to show they should follow orthonormality condition. I have taken inner product of one basis set. You consider one basis vector, you are just considering, you are taking this is AI and BJ. It is a bra part I have taken. And then another basis vector I am taking. That's a pth one. You have taken pth one from system A and qth one from system B. So this is a ket, this is a bra site, and this is a ket site, and then dot product. And their dot product is nothing but simply you can write that AI AP. That's a bra AP ket. I've just written AI AP BJ BQ bra ket BJ BQ. Now you know, because they are independently orthogonal, because AI, these basis vectors I and P, only when I equal to P, then only that will be existing. Otherwise 0, they are orthonormal individually. You could express them individually, and this one also individually. So that means this has to be delta IP, delta JQ. So this basis vector, whenever I am just expressing that basis vector, I can actually completely decompose into this psi can be decomposed into 2 individual. I can come to know what is, I can actually factor them into 2. If I know this psi, I can actually factor them that into 2 different subsystem or 2 different pure states. This is a pure state, and this pure state could be separated, factored into 2 pure states. They are actually meant for individual systems. Okay, now let us consider that. Okay, suppose you have a system of 2 photons. So this, whatever I was discussing, I was trying my level best to express you to visualize things, because this thing you have to think a bit, otherwise you cannot visualize. Suppose for a system of 2 photons, each of their states can be spanned into 2, I think 2 spelling mistake, 2 orthogonal basis vector. One is called horizontal, another is called particle, right? So horizontal, I am just writing H, and particle V, and someone you know that the horizontal polarization I can express like a 1 0, and vertical can be 0 1. That's a 2D Hilbert space. So this is one basis vector and this is another basis vector. So that means one of my photon I can decompose into these two basis vectors. Some fraction will be, it can be 45 degree, you can get 1 by root 2 here, 1 by root 2 superposition I can get also. Superposition of these two can be a state also. This is a basis vector, superposition of these two can be a basis vector. Can be a state, photon state in system 1. Similarly, another photon, identical photon for example, that also will give you, that can be decomposed into also two basis vectors, horizontal and vertical. So that means I have one system of photon, one single photon. I am thinking that single photon that can be one system. Another single photon that can be another system. And this photon I can express horizontal and vertical component, basis vectors. This also I can express with a pure state, horizontal component, vertical component. Now this combined photon system, two photon system, if I try to express in a new Hilbert space, which will be actually 4 dimension, because this dimension, that dimension, there will be tensor product that will be 4 dimension. How that will be there? So in that case, the basis vectors according to this formula 392, you know, the basis vectors will be, you have to express AI, maybe you are considering 1 0, right? And then this one will be, this will be 2 times 1 0 and 0 1. And I think it would be better if you just simply write Ket H. So what you will be getting, the combined system, if you want to express, their basis vectors will be Ket H, cross Ket H, that means tensor H, and then H, V, VH, and VB. So all sorts of combinations. That means this can be H and V, and this can be also H and V. When I am taking tensor product, and each of this component will be HH, HV, VH, VB. Now you see H by H, if you do tensor product, horizontal to horizontal, that means 1 0 and 1 0. You know that 1 0 1 0. If you are just taking this is a column vector, and then another will be row vector. So Ket H, tensor Ket H will be this one. Is that correct? Animesh?
Yes, sir.
This first, if I just express H equal to 1 0, then Ket H and Ket H tensor product will be this one.
1 0 1 0 it should be, right, sir.
How? 1 0.
Because
And-
we were taking the same ket vector.
Ket vector, but I am taking a tensor product. 2 vector if I am taking a tensor product. It is not just simply dot product. That means if you just see the tensor product, if I take 1, I have to multiply each component there. Another is a 1 0 row vector, right?
Yes,
1 multiply
1,
1, then you are
yes.
getting 1. Then 1 multiply 0, you are getting 0. Then 0
0
multiply
multiply
1, 0. And 0
0
multiply.
multiply 0.
So then it is correct, no?
Yes, sir.
So that is how we have to say the basis vector is now not a column vector. It's now a matrix. For combined situation, whenever you are combining, whenever individually you are saying their basis vectors are just simply vector 1 0 1 0. And when you are jointly defining a new state, then their basis vectors, the H by H will be like this. H, V, another basis vector will be like this. And this one will be like this. And this one will be like this. Right? And of course, whenever you are defining this SI is a coefficient. This is This is like a vector and this is the coefficient, right? Superposition you are taking. So they are superposition so that Sij summation Sij square, that should be equal to 1. Total probability should be equal to 1. That you have to keep in mind. Okay. So now if you see, that's if the two photons are individually defined by their states A and B respectively, the combined two photon system is completely specified by this. You see, you know, the individually it is defined, then combined system I can define a new state to define both the photons in a single state, single psi. I can express them in 4 basis vector components, you see here. Why I put half here, you know? Anyone can explain why I put half here?
Normalization.
Normalizing, because you see, if you are taking a probability, it will come 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So total probability will be 1. So that is why half we have put as a normalization, right? So this is the combined things. So now take home message is that what we have started that with a one photon, another photon, completely defined with their basis vectors. And if that is the case, then I can define a new state. I am just giving you an example of 2 photons, but it can be 2 quantum systems. And if you know individual quantum systems, subsystems, they are completely defined with their basis vectors. Then you can define also a complete state jointly by the help of their individual basis vectors. Only their tensor product will be there. So that is the thing. That is simple, as simple as that. So one thing is that if we know the individual states completely, then in a modified combined Hilbert space, I can, in terms of them, I can decompose. It is easy. But suppose in this, I have 4 basis vectors here, right? Actually, I am writing KTH. KTH means it is actually a tensor product. I just missed here. This tensor symbol here I missed. That giving this one basically 1 0 0 1. That one. This one actually here it will come here. That will be like your new basis vector as a tensor. It will be showing here. That is another one, and that is another one. That is another one. So these are the 4 things you will be getting. Now, if you think, okay, these are the basis vectors, right? Instead of taking all 4, I can define a state like this. I'm not taking all the 4 basis vectors. I'm just taking one basis vector like this one, H and V, and another basis vector here. I can have plus minus, the superposition, because you know quantum mechanics means it's basically superposition. So if I define like this, the superposition of these 2 components, this basis vector and this basis vector, and I have a well-defined psi plus minus means I can consider plus or minus, something like that. Instead of taking 4, I am just taking 2 of them. Okay, so if you are expressing like that, you cannot really decompose them into 2. You cannot factor like this tensor of individual photons or systems. So meaning you have 2 photons, but 2 photons you have used their basis vector in such a fashion that not complete all the basis vector you have not taken, and you have taken only this thing, and here I put 1 by root 2 so that you can get normalization also 1. That means your total probability is 1. So a function is defined. So in that case, what you do, if you try to measure, you have 2 photons. Now you just a peculiar situation you can have. You cannot really, if you have this type of state somehow formed, mathematically it is shown. If this type of state is formed, this state you cannot really decompose into, you cannot factor into two states individually. Because if you want to factor them into this thing, you have to use all the four basis vectors. Superposition of all the four basis vectors you have to have, and then only you can get. And if you are just taking two of them, two of these basis vector, you cannot really vector, because you just simply see. Suppose you are trying to measure one photon now. You have two photon system. You are trying to measure one photon and you are getting the horizontal polarization. Right? First photon you are getting horizontal polarization. Then what happens when you try to measure one photon? That means you will be getting one of these two bases. Either this one, because it will collapse into either this one or this one. Right? When it is collapsed into this one, that means one photon, if it is like a horizontal polarization, another one, this is coming from another one. No? So that will be automatically, that will be vertical. Even though you are not measuring there. The system, the basis, it's like the two photon is there, you are measuring one photon. Somehow you are just trying to measure, the two photons are separated far away. And you are measuring one photon, it is horizontal, then other one will be vertically. You are sure that that will be vertical. Suppose it is somehow your first photon is measured like a V, that means it will be collapsed into in this basis vector. So whenever you are measuring, normally whenever you try to measure, the system will collapse into one of the basis vectors, eigenstates. So this is one eigenstate, this is another eigenstate. So one eigenstate, if it is you are just getting, one is horizontal, another is vertical, another vertical, and this horizontal. So in that case, that's you don't have to, earlier whatever, two system is there, two system you can independently, individually you can measure. Photon one polarization A, and again you measure the, if it is horizontal polarization, again it will be horizontal. Irrespective of the second things, second photons, whatever you measure, whatever you do there, but this photon you can have individually, whatever you are supposed to get according to the pure state principle you will be getting. It is completely independent. But in this case, you have a two photon system, you have certain state you can form, two photon system, then whenever you try to disturb or measure something on one photon and to get something like that horizontal, then that horizontal comes because it is actually collapsed into this state. That means other one is automatically vertical. Or this state, that this will be also vertical. So here also one can also think that the superposition of this one and this one, HH and VB, that is another type of kind of correlation. But because of the photon, because one horizontal, another horizontal, and one vertical, another vertical, that is not so interesting. Basically, somehow it will not be that much interesting, because you cannot really distinguish. Okay, I am horizontally measuring here, they are also horizontally. Simply you can get also any other way also you can get, but there are differences there. But if you have some kind of superposition state created like this, then one will be horizontal, another will be purely vertical, or one you are measuring vertical, then other will be purely horizontal. This is called actually polarization entangled situation. So in such a situation, the two photons are said to be entangled. So you cannot think that two photons are really individual identity. They will lose their individual identity in this state. They are joint, they are together. If you try to somehow sense one photon, polarization of one photon, then you are sure that even though you are not measuring the other one, even though that is gone somewhere else, but that you will sure that okay, that is actually vertical polar. Definitely, whenever it is detected, that is vertical polarized. The same time it will be vertically polarized. Okay, so this type of state actually it is possible to create, can be generated. So there are devices, particularly in crystal nonlinear optics, people use that. Yes, it's possible that this type of polarization entangled, or another way, instead of polarization, there is energy entangled. These things are possible. So I wanted to discuss up to this point here. So entanglement I just discussed before I go to the coherent states and squeeze states. Probably one more lecture I will discuss about the mixed states probably. Yeah. So mixed states, that will be more or less complete. And this part I have just taken, I have followed from this. I told that Leonard, Wolf Leonard's book, chapter 2. Okay, if you have questions, you can put down. Otherwise, I can stop. I think why not all the students are not coming? I think only few students regularly not coming. I think. Can you just tell them? I think I'll be giving them W if they are not attending regularly. Inform them. Send. I think Ramon, you can send a message that why some of them are not regularly. Those who are attending the class, only same people are attending.
Okay, sir. Okay. I'll
Just
send.
send out. Yeah. And fine. Yeah.